I'm just going to use a blanket today. You could use a blanket or a beach towel, whichever you have at home. And then if you have some blocks or books handy, these are nice to have. It's not necessary, but it's a good thing to have when we're in our lunge series to kind of bring the earth up to us. So setting that aside for a moment, just go ahead and get yourself comfortable onto the mat. Take a moment to draw that spine up nice and tall. And we'll close the eyes down, bringing palms into heart center, pressing them together. Just doing a little check-in and seeing how the body is feeling, what it's craving. And checking in with the breath and seeing how the breath feels. On that next inhale, we're going to keep those palms together, but raise them above the head. And exhale, take them all the way around into a circle and join them back again at heart center. So inhale, press those fingertips up towards the sky. Exhale, draw this nice big circle around. And one more time into heart center. Press those palms up, open out. And then back into heart center. Take 2 long, deep breaths here. Maybe an open mouth exhale to release any toxins in the body. Gentle the eyes open. Take those hands back above the head. Separate the palms and then bring that right palm down to the earth as that left palm stretches and reaches. So use that hand so you can stay up nice and tall, open up into the heart, and take a few breaths into side body here. Keeping that right palm down onto the earth, release that left hand down, hover it above the mat, and now keep the ear over towards that right side. Couple options here. You can either find a little sway in the hand, or maybe you find a little bit of movement in that neck down towards the ear, or that ear down towards that right side. When you find that space that needs you to stay for a few moments, stay there and breathe. Listening to the body. Press away from that supporting hand onto the earth. Come up tall. Bring the hands back up high. Now taking that left hand down onto the earth. Right hand stretches and reaches. Roll that shoulder open here so we can open into the armpit, chest, as well as side body. Take some nice, generous, deep breaths, keeping that left hip down, or excuse me, that right hip down onto the earth. Left ear stays down towards that left shoulder. We're going to bring that right hand down, allow it to hover, and then go on a little play date here. Any movement either in the neck or in that hand. Getting that nice stretch and opening in the right side of the neck. And then press into that supporting hand. Bring both hands up nice and tall, and then relax them down onto the knees. Working into the neck for just one more moment. Take the chin down towards the chest. And just draw little half moons, peeking from shoulder to shoulder. Releasing any tension. Letting your day go thus far. And then slowly bring the head back up to neutral. Draw the shoulders up towards the ears. Exaggerate that shrug as you bring it down the back. Again, rolling up towards the ears, releasing down. One more time. Draw it up nice and tall and release. Working down the body, we're just going to start to shift a little side to side, just a little small belly roll here. Just kind of think about shifting that weight from glute to glute, starting to get into the side waist. Now slowly start to make that circle a little bit bigger, or you can even think of it as a triangle. Taking that chest over towards that right knee, draw it across to the left, and then rise up. You can start to tip back a little bit more to engage in the abdominals as you roll around. Aiding in digestion here, and also starting to get those hip flexors a little more open. Coming back up to center, we'll start that small little swirl to the other side. So just shifting over to one hip and then the other. And we can start to make that circle a little bit bigger, shifting all the way around and up and through. Take a few more of these rotations, using the breath to open up. And then slowly come back up to center. We're going to take the legs around and come into our tabletop position, using that blanket to pat up the knees. When we get into that tabletop position, let's also work into those hips a little bit more. So place those hands right underneath the shoulders. Knees are stacked right underneath the hips. Starting with that left hip, let's just go ahead and bring that knee up to the side and draw a few circles here. Taking it out and around. Keep pressing into both hands without bending the elbow. You can make these nice and slow. You can make them as big or small as you would like. Now taking that knee forward and stamping the foot down at the top of the mat. We're going to find a little bit of movement here. Keeping that foot down, this is a great place to have those blocks handy if you would like, or those books to frame the foot. And that's completely optional. Mine's a little silly one. I'm going to keep mine off to the side so you can just see. So let's go ahead and come into our lunge. Keeping that knee stacked over the ankle and that back leg long here. Fingertips are down onto the earth, or they're on that block. Head is shining forward. Now keep the sole of the foot down onto the earth. We're just going to change this up a little bit. So starting to shift that weight back, straighten the leg, but keep the leg down, or keep the foot down onto the earth. Breathing into the hamstrings. Now slowly bend into that knee and shift forward. Trying to get into that hip flexor on that right side. Very slowly press those hips back, straighten that leg. This time maybe bow the nose down towards the knee. Take a few breaths here. And one more time, bend into that knee, shift forward, feel that nice stretch into the back of, or the front of the hip flexor on that back leg. And then slowly shift back, keeping the sole of the foot down. Nose can come down. Check it and see if you're swaying the hips to one side. See if you can center them. Press firmly into that foot, come back into that low lunge. Now bring the hands to the top of the thighs and grow tall in the spine. Fingertips raise up. We're going to flow a little bit here by shifting forward and then rolling back, maybe coming into a little bit of a black bend. Shifting forward and rolling back. One more time, shift forward and then roll back. Release the hands to frame the foot and step that foot back into our tabletop position. Just notice here how that leg and that hip feels on that left side compared to our right side. All right, firmly placing the hands onto the earth. Let's draw that right knee out to the side and just draw a few little hip circles, as large or small as you would like. Try to keep those elbows straight. And then draw that knee up towards the front of the mat, stamp that foot down. We're going to find that flow on this side. So again, you can use these blocks to stay up tall for our lunge. Keeping the sole of the foot down, start to straighten that leg, bring the hips back. Ooh, I can feel it in the hamstring on the side. Shift forward into that lunge. Make sure that that knee is staying stacked over that ankle, that it's not going over the toes. We don't want to get into the joint of this. We want to get this nice stretch in the hip flexor. Very slowly shift back. Keep that foot down, and this time maybe bring the nose down towards the knee. Slowly glide forward. Last time in this low lunge. And then shift back again. Nose can come down towards the knee. See if you're shifting those hips, see if you can center them. And then bend the knee and come back up, bringing those hands to the top of the thighs. Embrace the wobble and then find your stability here. Raise the fingertips up high. Let's bow forward, fingertips come forward. And with that momentum, come back, maybe find a back bend. Inhale, floating forward. Exhale, come back. Inhale, forward. And exhale, back. Release the palms down onto the earth. Walk that foot back. And then let's just kind of draw a few circles now with the knees on the ground, shifting the hips side to side. And jetting that hip out, and then circling around. Switching directions of the barrel rolls. It's also great for digestion if you bring the top of the belly across the thighs. And then coming back into that tabletop position. Tuck the toes underneath, shift the hips back. Let's just crouch down for just a moment, keeping those toes down and waking up the feet here. Slow and controlled, spring forward, release the tops of the feet down. Pressing into the palms, round into the back, find our cat pose. Drop the belly down, take a peek up into our cow pose. Tuck those toes underneath, shift the hips back, and crouch here. Press into those palms, guide that chest forward, untuck the toes, and round into our cat pose. Get that nice stretch in the obliques as we drop the belly down, feet up into our cow. Tuck those toes underneath once more. Crouch back for just a moment. And then shift the chest forward, bring the knees up off of the earth, and come into our downward facing dog. Take a few moments to pedal out. Nodding the head, making sure there's no tension in the neck. Maybe moving any props out of the way. Slowly, take a few steps all the way to the front. Then meet me in forward fold. Might feel good to take a hold of that opposite hand with that opposite elbow. You can find a little gentle sway side to side. That is very heavy here. There is no controlling of the neck. We're just letting it drape down. We're allowing the spine to waterfall down. And take your time, pressing in the feet, release the palms if you're holding on to the elbows. And ragdoll all the way up. Just me at the top of the mat in our mountain pose. Take the hands out to the side, shine that chest forward, and stretch between each one of the fingertips. Tadasana. Draw the hands together at heart center, pressing palms together. On that inhale, we bring the fingertips up. On that exhale, we draw that circle just like we did in the beginning. Inhale into heart center. Press it up. Exhale, open out nice and wide. One more time, press the palms together and open out wide. Let's go ahead and take that right foot, step it behind. We're going to take a hold of that right wrist, and we're going to dip that hip over towards that right side as we reach and stretch to the left. Open the chest here. Keep tall in the spine, engage in the abdominals so we can protect that lower back. Take one more nice inhale. And on the exhale, release and let go. Do that on the opposite side. So now stepping that foot behind, placing the sole of the foot onto the earth. Take a hold of that left wrist and then shift the weight over towards that right side. Keep pressing into both feet. And instead of punching forward, think about pressing back. Getting this nice, beautiful side body stretch, stretching in the waist, stretching in the arms. Release the clasp of the hand and come back around, release the foot. Nice job. Inhale to sweep up. Exhale, bow all the way down forward. Find a halfway lift. Melt back down, forward fold. Hands come to the top of the shins or the thighs, halfway lift. And melt back down. One more time, halfway lift. Flat back. Melt down, forward fold. Bend the knees. Sweep the hands all the way up. Tall mountain, hands meet above the head. And then gentle the palms into heart center. Let's flow here. Keep that right foot forward. Step that left foot back into our warrior two. Check in with your alignment here. Make sure that the knee is pressing towards the pinky toe side. We're bending into the knee and peeking over the front fingers. Shifting that weight towards the back foot Slowly take that arm back. Front arm reaches up and over into our reverse warrior. Keep the bend in that front knee. And then put a bend into that front arm, drawing the forearm and placing it on top of the thigh. Release that back arm and stack the shoulders over each other here. So this arm that is on the leg is not having you crash down, but it's using this kind of kickstand to make you tall here. Gaze is up. We're pressing into that pinky toe on that back foot. Sweep back up into our warrior two. Straighten the front leg, lean forward, and then cartwheel down into our triangle. Gaze can be up, neutral, or down. Bend the knee, come back into our warrior two. Then straighten the leg again. We're going to find our reverse triangle so that back hand comes down to lower leg or back to the lower back as we reach across the body. Bend into that front knee and sweep back into warrior two. Hands come to the hip line. Turn the toes so they're to the wide edge of the mat. Hinging at the hips, find a halfway lift. Hover here for a moment. Release all the way down, Pasarita, wide-legged forward fold. Take a few breaths here. Bring the hands to the top of the thighs. Dip that tailbone down and slowly wind all the way back up to standing. Zip the legs together and meet me at the front of the mat. Crazy hair going on here. Inhale, fingertips sweep up. Exhale, cactus the heart open here. Keep that belly button and lower ribs in towards the spine. Inhale up. Exhale, melt all the way down, forward fold. Halfway lift, flat back. Melt down, forward fold. Bend the knees, sweep all the way up, tall mountain. Gentle palms into heart center. Left foot stays forward, right foot steps back. I'm just going to turn here so I don't have my booty to you and open up into warrior two. Find your alignment here, lining up that back foot, heel to heel, or the arch of that back foot with that front heel. Press that knee open towards the pinky toe. Let's flow a little bit here. So flipping back, that back arm comes back, that front arm sweeps overhead, reverse warrior. Keep that bend in the front knee. Now put a bend into that elbow. Start to slowly rotate around. We find our extended side angle. Find the gaze that's working for you. Engage in the core and come back up to warrior two. Straighten the front leg, lean forward, cartwheel down, triangle. Bend the knee, come back up. Straighten the leg again. Now bring that front arm back into our reverse triangle. Bend the knee and come back into that T shape with the arms, warrior two. Hands come to the hip line. Pivot the toes so they're the wide edge of the mat. Shift the chest forward, hold in a halfway lift. Melt all the way down, wide-legged forward fold. Hands come to the top of the thighs, dip that tailbone down, and slowly come all the way back up. Zip the legs together and meet me at the front of the mat. We're going to go through that sequence once again, and I'm just going to give you minimal cues. So I'm going to call out what we're doing, And then you can just flow along. And if we miss something, that's okay. All right, fingertips sweep up, grow tall. Cactus the heart open here. Inhale, fingertips raise up. Exhale, come all the way down, forward fold. Halfway lift, flat back. Melt down. Sweep up. Right foot forward, left foot steps back, warrior two. Reverse the warrior. Extended side angle. Warrior two. Straighten. Come down into our triangle. Bend the knee, warrior two. Straighten the leg, reverse triangle. Bend the knee, warrior two. Hands to hips, pivot feet, half lift. Melt down. Tuck tailbone down. Slowly wind all the way back up. Zip the legs together and meet me at the front. All right, we're gonna repeat that. Inhale up. Exhale, melt all the way down, forward fold. Halfway lift. Melt back down. Bend knees, sweep up. Left foot forward, right foot back, warrior two. Reverse the warrior. Extended side angle, hand comes down to thigh. Warrior two. Straight leg, lean forward. Triangle. Warrior two. Straighten leg, reverse triangle. Warrior two. Pivot toes. Half lift. Melt down. Take a breath here. Hands come to the top of the thighs. Tuck that tailbone and round all the way back up. And zip the legs together, meeting at the front of the mat. Nice job. We're gonna go through that, but I'm gonna add a little twist there. We're gonna have a little bit of zest into this one. And if you wanna keep that block, if you can keep a block towards the front of the mat, might be nice to have handy. Inhale, fingertips raise up. Exhale, cactus all the way down, forward fold. Halfway lift. Waterfall forward. Press into feet, sweep all the way up. Open into warrior two, right foot forward. Reverse the warrior. Bend the elbow, come back around to our extended side angle. Option here to take that forearm off the thigh and allow that arm to come into the inside of the leg. I like to use my bicep to press that thigh open a little bit more. Stack the shoulders over each other and breathe deep here. Bend the knee, come back into that warrior two. Straighten the front leg, lean forward, come down again into our triangle. Bend the knee, sweep back up into warrior two. We're going to switch up a little bit here. We're going to find our triangle, but we're going to find a revolved triangle. So straighten that front leg, back hand comes around to the earth or to that block. And now we're turning the belly and the chest towards the thigh and stacking the shoulders here into this deep twist. Here for just one more moment. Release the arm down, pivot around. We're just going to come into that half lift with that wide stance, and then melt down, forward fold. Walk both hands over towards that right foot. Bend into that right knee. Stay tall here. One option is to take those toes up and turn that heel to the side. So we're in a tall skandasana. Release those toes down. Walk the hands over towards that opposite knee. Bend into the knee. An option to come down low or stay tall, and you can take that toes up and that heel out. Very slowly shift all the way back to center and rest down in that forward fold. Bring the hands to the top of the thighs and slowly wind back up to standing. All right, we're going to repeat all of that on the opposite side. So zip those legs together. Might want to keep that block nearby for that revolved triangle. Sweep the fingertips up. Melt down, forward fold. Noticing how our legs are feeling maybe a little bit more open. Probably definitely worked. Halfway lift. Melt down. Sweep up. Tall mountain. Step out last time into our Warrior Two series. Reverse the warrior. Starting with that extended side angle, starting with that arm on top of the thigh. Find your great positioning here, and then bring that hand to the inside of the leg. Keep breathing. Engage in the core as we come back up to Warrior Two. Straighten the front leg. Lean forward. Bring down into our triangle. I'm going to step this block right here. Bend into that knee. Last time with us, Warrior Two. Now straighten that front leg again. Sweep that back arm, cartwheel it all the way around to the inside of that leg, holding on to block or earth, as now that front arm comes up. We twist and turn here. So we're bringing that belly towards the inside of the thigh. If this is uncomfortable at all for the shoulders, you can find bind by releasing that hand down to that lower hip and lower back area. Breathe deep here, we're building strength. If you have arm and bind, bring it back up. And then slowly sweep that arm around, pivot the toes, and come into that forward fold. Nice job. We're going to go into that skandasana again. Entirely up to you how deep you want to go. Walk the hands over to the right knee. Bend into the right knee. You can come down low or stay tall. Pivot that foot. Keep that toes nice and bright. Giving such a nice stretch to the inside of the leg. If you have that foot raised, slowly lower it back down. Take your time. Walk the body to the other side. Bend into that knee. You can stay tall here, or you can come down and pivot the foot up towards the ceiling. Get a nice stretch into the groin as well as the legs. One more breath here. Then slowly shift all the way back around to center. Toes are facing towards the front of the mat, or towards the wide edge of the mat, I should say. And let's just hang out here in this wide-legged forward fold for a few moments. Check in and see where you're distributing the weight in the feet. And feel free to find any gentle movement here, maybe walking it out side to side, or bringing the hands back towards the heels. Finishing up whatever movement that you would like to here. Walk the hands forward, find a half lift, and then bring the hands to the top of the thighs, tuck that tailbone down, and slowly wind all the way back up to standing. Zip the legs together at the top of the mat. Get a little march out. Fingertips sweep up. Cactus the heart open again. Fingertips sweep up. Melt all the way down, forward fold. Place the hands onto the earth and step the feet back into that down dog. Just notice here the difference from that first down dog to where you are now. Bend the knees, shift the chest forward, lower the knees down to the earth, and then very slowly lower the belly all the way down. Coming on the belly, let's walk the elbows underneath the shoulders here. Widen the legs and come into our Sphinx pose. Pressing the tops of the feet down onto the earth. Keep those shoulders rolled back, really pressing into pubic bone and into that lower belly. And a couple breaths here in this nice back opening. Start to walk the hands underneath the shoulders. Press all the way back. Bring the big toes to touch, knees wide. And we shift into a wide-legged child's pose. Might want to shift a little bit side to side. You might want to walk the hands a little further forward. Taking several breaths into back body. Slowing the heart rate. Slowing the breath. Press into the palms and come back up into that tabletop position for just a moment. And then swim the legs around. We're going to come into seated, but bringing the soles of the feet together and the knees out to the side into our butterfly pose. Pull the shoulders away from the ears and grow tall. We're going to take the hands to the feet and peel the feet open, keeping the knife edge of the feet together. And just notice, feel that opening along the outside of that hip flexor and in the glute. Take a few breaths here. Then guide the feet back together. Take the hands to the top of the toes, roll the shoulders away. Hinging at the hips, start to slowly come down. We're keeping that length in the spine and creating this active stretch. So keep the shoulders rolled away from the ears. It's not a matter of how deep we're going, we just want the sensation of the stretch. Tuck the chin in towards the chest and slowly wind back up. All right, so now I'm going to take this left leg and I'm going to turn it out to the side here. So this is our deer pose. If this is uncomfortable for the hips at all, Then you can just bring that knee and place it right on top of the foot. So we're squaring out the hips here. See if we can be tall for a moment. This is a great thing for the hips because we're getting this external rotation of the hip and a stretch into the groin, as well as that external rotation. So internal and external rotation of the hips. This is called resting deer. I've heard it called other things like cheerleader. Imagine having your pom-poms here. Or I've also heard it referred to as a pinwheel. So again, if this is uncomfortable at all, you can use that block underneath the knee or stack it right on top of that foot. Just come into a twist by bringing the fingertips up high. We're going to turn away towards that bent knee on the right side. Right hand comes behind, left hand is on the knee, and we twist open here. Continue to breathe in this twist. This is a great one to get into the psoas as well. It's good for sciatica. Unwind and come back around, bring those palms up. We're going to bring the palms down onto the earth, and this might be just enough to stay tall. Or an option is just to come down onto the forearms and melt down the chest towards that knee. Continue to breathe. Notice if you're holding tension in the face, you release it. Are you holding tension in the shoulders? Let it go. Are you holding tension in the hips and that lower part of the body? Use the breath to soothe out those spaces. Press into the palms and slowly rise all the way back up. We're going to draw that leg back around, place the soles of the feet onto the earth, and let's just windshield wiper side to side a few times. Bringing the soles of the feet back together, knees out to the side into our butterfly again. Take the hands on top of the toes. This time we're going to create a passive stretch with our fold. So this time as we fold forward, let's go ahead and allow the back to round. Allow the chin to come towards the chest. And that head, the crown of the head, comes down towards the toes. I've been teaching a lot of kids yoga lately, and so we call this smell your toes. So smell your feet and your toes here. Take your time to unwind and come back up. And then we'll find that deer pose on the opposite side. So taking that right knee out to the side and creating that 90-degree angle, lining it up with the mat. You can shift and adjust a few times. And again, if that's too much to have it out to the side, just stack that knee right on top of the foot. Or you can always just come into easy pose. There's no reason to force this at all. So notice how that hip is rotating in. We're really engaging in the core so that we are protecting that lower back. Raise the fingertips up tall. Turn the torso over towards that right side, or excuse me, left side. Right hand comes to the top of the leg, and we twist here. Sending you a little reminder to try to keep that right hip down. Let's try to take the crankiness out of this twist. So we're not twisting so much that we feel like we're just bringing everything out. We just want a nice little opening here. No gripping. One more breath. Now float the hands up as we come around to the front. And then mount down, placing hands onto the earth, or maybe coming down to forearms. Noticing how the side is different. Our body is not symmetrical. So we're going to feel this differently on each side of the body. There's a lot of reasons to feel differently. Sometimes it's from past injuries or from the way we use the body. And take these few breaths and these few moments to turn inward and kind of think about why that is the case with the side without passing judgment. One more nice, long, deep, fluid breath. Press the palms down and slowly rise all the way up. Being very cautious to release that leg, place it down onto the earth, and once more, just allow the knee to drop into center, and then shift back for the legs. Hopefully you're feeling good in the hips now. We're going to come around to our back side. So take our time to roll on down and bring the knees in towards the chest. Give them a little hug and squeeze here. Maybe take a moment to rock side to side, massaging out the sacrum and the kidney area. Releasing the right foot down onto the earth. Keep that left knee in towards that left armpit. Take a hold of the outside of that left leg. So we're finding a half stirrup here. There's a couple options. You can keep that right foot bent, or you can straighten it down towards the earth. Just getting one more good stretch into the leg and into that groin area. Keep seeing if you can press that knee down, down, down towards the armpit. If you have not already straightened the right leg, go ahead and straighten it out. We're going to take a hold of that left leg. Keep that knee bent. We're going to take a hold of it with that right arm. And then draw it across the body. And allow the hips to come over and open onto the right side. Take that left hand out into a T shape or a cactus shape. I find this a nice twist here. So that right hand on top of that left thigh, don't press it down to the earth too much. It's just there for guidance. We're not forcing anything. Ideally, we would like to keep that left shoulder down onto the earth so we can complete the twist. Use the body, use the breath to soothe the body. Long, deep breath. Open up spaces. Creating flexibility and depth in our muscles and our connective tissue. Slowly, slowly come back around to center. Release those legs down for a moment, center the hips, and then draw the knees back in towards the chest once more. Releasing now that left foot down, taking a hold of the knife edge of that right foot. Guide that knee down towards the armpit area. Option to keep that left leg bent, or you can take it straight down towards the bottom of the mat. Notice if you're straining in the shoulders or lifting that chin and that chest up. See if you can relax it down. We're getting that opposition of pressing the hand or the foot into the hand, and that hand is guiding that knee down and opening up a little bit more. Breathe into this half stirrup for just another moment. Now taking that opposite hand, we're going to take that left hand, take a hold of the leg, release the leg. If you don't have that leg straightened on the other side, make sure you straighten it first. And then draw the leg across the body, coming onto that left hip. Taking that right arm out into a T, a Y shape, or a cactus shape, but keeping the shoulder down onto the earth. Another reminder is that left hand on top of that right thigh is not pressing it down to the earth. It's just a little extra guidance here. You don't want to compromise any joints by forcing the stretch. Nice deep belly breaths. Take your time to slowly unwind. Place the soles of the feet onto the earth, center the hips. Walk the feet as wide as a yoga mat and allow the knees to TP in towards each other. Feel that release in the back. Just take a few nourishing breaths here. You're welcome to stay here for your Shavasana. Or if you would like to, you can extend the legs out long towards the bottom of the mat. Allow the feet to fall out to the corners of the mat. Take up space. You can have the hands come out to the side or let them gently rest on top of the belly. Just take these few moments to soak in all of your hard work. Feel the effects of that practice on your body. Deepening the breath. Gently nod the head from side to side. Center the head. Open the mouth into a nice wide yawn. Jog the bottom part of that jaw back and forth a few times. And then bring the lips back together again. Find some rotation and some movement, rolling out wrists and ankles. Stretching through toes and fingers. And lastly, guide the hands above the head. Stretch the toes down towards the bottom of the mat. Find this beautiful deep body stretch, stretch, stretch. And open mouth, exhale, release and let it go. Bend the knees, place the soles of the feet onto the earth once more. Shift over to the hip and slowly rotate around, using that forearm to rest the head into our fetal position for just a moment. Taking this last posture together, maybe set an intention of what you would like to take with you off the mat today. Press into that top palm to raise yourself up very slowly. And meeting in seated position. Palms come together at heart center. With a heartfelt gratitude, thank you so much for joining me and sharing your energy and your practice with me. Namaste.